Hello everyone, it's Kathy Zilski. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. Welcome to another live stream, and today it's another design chat for crafty people. Me, I'm a designer. Talk about design. I think about design. You, crafty people. Together, we learn, and we grow. I'm very happy to have you here for this live stream. It's been a while since I've done a design chat, but I felt it was time, and I'm excited about today's topic, which is open space in design. Open space or negative space or white space, whatever you want to call it, that's our subject for today. It is great to see so many of you joining already. I can see the chat coming through, so hey to Ginny and Mindy and Lancashire Lass, Stephanie, Kelly, Cheryl, Kay, so many familiar people. Can't speak. See, as soon as I start to look at the chat, it's all shiny. But I am glad to have you here, and here is my plan for today. I am going to go through the presentation, which should take, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes tops, and then we'll have a Q&A. So if you have a question and I miss it during the chat, no worries. We're going to do a little Q&A at the end. And I'm going to start out, though, with some definitions. Can we start out with some definitions? Because years ago, I taught scrapbooking classes, which maybe some of you, if you were ever in one of my classes, give a little shout out in the comments. But I always taught design, mostly because that's what I know. I've worked as a graphic designer primarily for, well, since I was about 23 years old. And that's a long time. And now I've managed to parlay graphic design as a career into more crafty things, and I have never had more fun with it. So, love to talk about design. I don't even need notes for this kind of thing. And when you don't need notes about something, that tells you know what you're talking about. Thank you. And I'm sure Dan is going to walk in at any minute, but I told him, please, for the love of summer, be quiet. Okay. And I am live today. I do a lot of premieres on my channel, but this is actually live. And if I do an edited version of this broadcast, we're going to cut this part out. All right. We're going to start with some definitions. Also, the light is going to be fluctuating in here because it's partly cloudy. Bear with me. Here we go. White space, also known as open space or negative space, is empty space around the content and functional elements of a page. The basic role of white space is to let your design breathe by reducing the amount of text and functional elements that users see at once. Now, other than the fact that I have a comma in the second sentence and it's running right into the next letter, ignore that typographic mistake, but this is a really functional definition of open space or white space or negative space, right? The whole idea is to allow a design to breathe. In our world, we are bombarded with visual information. 20 years ago, there were studies that talked about the 60,000 messages you receive a day. This was even before the internet, all the printed material we would see. Today, it's amplified by an exponential amount, right? Things are competing for your attention. Think about your YouTube homepage, right? Every time I log in, all those little thumbnails, they are trying to get your attention. They're trying to do something different. They're trying to engage you. Well, I believe that white space and open space sometimes is going to feel different on a design. And it is all about allowing your design to breathe and to invite someone into the viewing experience. So we're going to get into the table here, and I got now there's no Gemini cam today because, well, I'm not die cutting anything. This is all presentation. And here's the fun, okay? I am going to be starting out with just 3 scrapbook pages to kind of set the stage. Let me push this camera up a bit, because I don't have there we go. All right, we're just about there, a little bit more. Sorry, I got to get it up and try not to vibrate anything. Okay, the reason I wanted to start with some scrapbook pages is I feel like this is so easy to see because when we get into cards, right, it's a little bit different because it's a smaller space. But what I hope you take away today It's actually not different. It really doesn't matter whether we are doing a 4¼ by 5½ inch tall note card or an 8½ by 11 inch or 12 by 12 inch scrapbook page. Space is space. It does not prefer one size over the other. And so a design like this is so easy to see the open space. And it's not just for the fact that I use a lot of white cardstock and white paper in general in my crafting, but here, all of this space here and here allows this core connected story, photo, journaling list to breathe, okay? This feels like a page that if you're going to come into this viewing experience, this isn't going to seem intimidating. It's a lot of journaling, right? But the design itself is designed to let this breathe and invite you in, okay? Breathe, that's the hand signal. Breathe and yet invite you into the experience, okay? So there you have it, right? We have white space all around. I have another page to bring in before we get into our cards, okay? Now the thing is, I don't really scrapbook right now, and I might come around to it, but oh my goodness, do I have a lot of scrapbook pages? The answer, yes. Now a design like this, again, you can see the white space. And of course, this was many moons ago. This was 12 years ago now. So I used to have really short hair. If you're new to my channel, just so you know, that was the look. And this is my Halloween costume. And also welcome to everyone joining. It's really great to have you here. So thank you for being here. Now a page like this, again, we frame in white space. We don't fill edge to edge, right? This is only one photo. It's not competing with a whole lot for your attention, right? But I did incorporate, this was when I had just gotten into card making, and oh, you better believe I brought in die cuts and stamps and die cut letters and brought it all together. And I remember thinking at the time, I can use card making skills for scrapbooking. This is actually a page that I love. I think this ran in Scrapbooking Cards today, but we've got all this framing white space here around the elements, and it just gives this content room to breathe. And the little journaling, right? We see that. It's a chunk of journaling, but my guess is it doesn't feel as intimidating to read because it just is inviting you in, okay? Now, we're going to show you one more before we move into cards, because here's a layout, and I love this. I love scrapbooking older stories, if that makes sense. This is an old photo from my mom and I when we lived in Africa in 1972 and 73, and, trying to recall some of the stories so that I don't forget. This is pretty full, right? This is not... There's lots of journaling, there's photos, there's a title, there's a die cut. This is all about working in my die cutting skills that I had recently acquired. I'm pretty sure I did this for Scrapbooking Cards today as well, but we do include open space around the elements. One of the things that I've always done as a scrapbooker is look for the ways to make sure we have open space in logical places. Sometimes that open space might only be the background cardstock that I've matted the whole thing on, but that is always my goal because I want this to invite the viewer in. Believe me, I love my pages, but sometimes I don't know if everyone appreciates it the way I do, but you know what? I've always done this for me, so there you go. All right, I'm gonna pop this down. I'm gonna bring my camera down. Hold on, we're going a little Blair Witch on you. I gotta get down and make sure that we are framed. Because now we're gonna talk about cards. And what I want you to keep in mind, again, is the size doesn't really matter here. In fact, the fact that this is all on a white note card with a white panel, this is kind of an obvious design, right? I'm starting it out really simply. And also, I just saw a quick question from Kim. Yes, when I scrapbooked, I always did the journaling first and then figured the rest out. Yes, I always started with the story. Everything else was secondary. All right, so on this card, right? And I just did this video, and actually for all of the cards that I will show today, you will find links below to the videos that I can source, just so you know if you want to see more about how they were made. But on something like this, we have the greeting here. Oh, careful, let's party. The balloon kind of connected in here and our 5 little friends, but everything else is white and open. That's it. It just allows this to have its own place on the card, and everything else is open and lets it breathe. Now, if I bring in another card here, this is one that I just did as well recently. And so I feel like this has a lot going on, right? There's a lot here. A couple little pieces of fruit, a little flower, the greenery, the sequins, all of this is happening. But because I have made sure to incorporate some open space on this design, it feels a little less overwhelming. It feels a little less busy. And what I want to say about designing cards, you don't have to make them all really minimal to have good white space usage, right? They don't have to look like this. This is not everyone's vibe. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot going on here, but yet, we're just letting it breathe. We're letting it breathe. Love that. Okay, here's another one. This is actually from a live stream that I did recently. And again, center weighted design, no panels. And here's the kicker. This cardstock, while yes, it is white, if I had put this on a soft pale sage or a really soft pale gray, that colored background would still serve as the open space or the white space. White space doesn't have to be white. It's just open. It's just, there's nothing here, right? We're not trying to fill it up edge to edge. And yes, this is Gina K's layering carnation. Had a lot of fun with that one. But again, so many cards that I make do end up being in this really neutral sort of tone on tone, white on white. This card I love because it actually has a lot of shine on it with the foil. But it's very neutral. And again, we have a matted on white. Anytime you have a margin and you put your panel onto a card base, well, you are allowing for white space. Even if this is all full, right? You don't have to always be minimal everywhere. So little bits of white space can be really strong in a good design. Bring this little friend in. Some of these cards too, you may have seen before. I have a decent stash, and I love the fact that I can bring them in to talk about design and recycle some of the design talk depending on the topic. For here, this is a pretty full panel with the pretty trees stenciled in the background and my little dirty snow hills. Yeah, I try. But we have our open space at the top, and this panel has been mounted up onto a white note card, again, to allow a little extra space to breathe. It's so much easier to show cards because they're small. Okay. This is another project that I absolutely loved. And again, we have this messy wash here and everything else is left open. Obviously, that seems like a logical choice, but you'd be surprised. You see, oh, I just saw, yeah, at least it's not yellow snow. And let's all be thankful for that. Even something like this, where the shape itself is kind of dictating what you do with the design. Sometimes people still think, well, I should put more things over here, more things over. And I understand that urge. I really do. When I get a new stamp set, I want to use all the things. I want to use them all at once. But I am telling you, you don't have to. You can kind of dial it back, right? Dial it back. I don't know what the hand signal is. This is a project I just did recently, and it was using one of the very first stamp sets I had ever purchased. And I still think it's like the cutest thing ever. Mama Elephant, let's forget about it. Their stuff is seriously so cute. And I'm incorporating as much open space as possible, allowing this to have its place, the little stars blended out into nothing, They are allowed to breathe, right? There's nothing that needs to be taken away or added because it has the right amount of space. Again, could have popped this onto a yellow note card, like a pale yellow, maybe like a, oh, what's that Gina K color? That sweet corn. That would have looked beautiful as well because I'm pretty sure that is the sweet corn ink. But again, so simple, nothing else needs to be added, and it's okay to be this open. And here is another project again. You got a funky background, right? Doesn't mean you can't incorporate some white space, right? And the note card, again, 9 out of 10 times for me is going to give me that little edge, right? That little edge around. And again, I don't need to add anything else to this. There's so much going on with the color and the stamped image and the greeting and the sequins. A little bit of white space lets us breathe. Breathe. Oh, and that's what we need. Oh, this card, speaking about breathing, I did this for, I think this was for Nikki, Juno's Creation, Nikki Bugard, for World Asthma Day. And boy, I tell you, even when you incorporate open space, but then you take a neutral cardstock tone on tone with white, this is so airy, right? You can see that. I mean, well, I don't know why we're not focusing here. Maybe my, hold on here. I gotta hit the reset. There we go. All right. It's just super airy. And again, that is because we are allowing the design to breathe and we are bringing in more open space, even in the greeting as it connects to this frame panel. Oh, I love that card. I need to send that to someone. Okay. But see, this is why I keep some of these things so that I can do chats like this. And hopefully, you know, if you take anything away from this, I'm going to be happy, right? I'm going to be happy. That's the goal, right? A little design does go a long way. Now check this panel out. This is all stenciled with a layering stencil. We've popped on our little greeting and popped it onto this note card. And in this instant, right, in this instance, it's the green is really serving as our open space. But even sometimes when you have a pattern, don't discount the pattern as open space. Now, I don't know who I was talking to my daughter about this, or someone, I was arguing about this. Yeah, it was with my daughter. We were talking about pattern paper. But I believe that a pattern, like this is a background stamp. I have embossed, resist, and ink blended over it, right? This still serves as sort of an open space, right? This is not, it's not white. It's not a cardstock that's any particular solid color, but in a sense, it's almost open just because of the pattern and the background sense. So I don't know if that reads as easily, it's not as easy to see, put it that way. And again, just to reinforce, I've had people ask, why do you always cut panels and put them on you know, on your card bases? It's because of this. It's because I want to make sure that there is something, the framing margin space is going to introduce white space for me, no matter what's happening on the inside of my card. Oh, look at how cute this is. Love this card. This is kind of similar. And here I have this cute little shaker that I made. This little background, you know, in a sense, it's serving as an open space of sorts, and we are doing the same thing, mounting the panel onto the note card, okay? But really, the star is in the center, obviously, but I'm going to suggest that sometimes your patterned, stenciled backgrounds that you are creating, right, it can serve as a way to breathe so that you can take in the design. Well, let's come over this. Oh, this is so exciting. So exciting. I love talking design. Now, here we have another card. This is a funky stamp set from my friend Lisa Huttrick. I loved this card. I felt like I was super out of my funky element because I ink blended and stamped funkiness. But again, frame it out. Even with some funky elements, white space abounds. And actually, I don't know if you can see this, but I splattered on this too. And even if I splatter on something, it's just subtle enough. It doesn't take away from the open space. It just adds a layer of interest that you really have to be a lot closer to see to get it. Bringing this in, I think I've showed this in every design chat because I love this card. Love this design. I don't know what it is. I think it has pretty much everything in a card design that I aspire to do. Number one, nice big note card, right? White space here, slightly asymmetrical, comes in from the outside, and then we get this big, beautiful tone-on-tone white greeting, dimensions, sequins. Telling you. But again, this card would not be as strong as if I had just kept stamping, right? I decided to take the stamps, stamp, design something that had an angle, and then let it breathe. Let it breathe. Let it breathe. Okay, no singing. Sliding you over and bringing this in. This is a card that I don't have a video for. That I actually know because I did this for scrapbooking cards today. Love this card. Still love this card. I think I made it 2 or 3 years ago. But again, here we have 2 examples of open space, right? This cardstock up top, total open space. So it's like white space, but it's in this sort of, I think it's Innocent Pink from Gina K Designs. And then we have this ragged die edge, right? Having the space open there, and yet the white open space frames the whole piece. I tell you, that makes me happy. And again, it's just about inviting people into the experience. Now, you know, when we make cards for people, we are having joy, right? We're having so much fun while we're making. We hope that they love them. I'm going to tell you the biggest secret about card making. If they like it or they don't like it, you know what? You've already been paid up front, my friends, because you got to create, you got to feel crafty. Hopefully they'll love it, but if they don't, you know what? It's all good. I never really worry about how it will be received, and yet at the same time, I do hope people will appreciate that I'm inviting them into the experience. This is a card I did for the Scrapbooking Cards Let's Stamp Together program, which is a subscription program. And you can learn more about that at scrapbookingcardstoday.com. But I did a little card using some Concord and Ninth products. And again, open space, let your design breathe. So good. All right, moving on. Getting down to our last few cards, and then we'll have a little Q&A. Now, this is a card, too, that I don't have a video for, but this just showed up in Scrapbooking Cards Today in our summer issue. This is part of our Creative Cards column, and we did a column this month, or this issue, that's a rainbow order of cards, and I got assigned pink. I was so excited to have pink because I had just gotten the Gina K Designs kit with the new inks and these die cut pieces. And so I was really excited to create with this. But again, we've got a cluster of content here. I've got little glass, they're not glass, they're little enamel dots here. The greeting pops in here, that's connected, but look at all that space that allows your design to breathe. It's just a stronger look. It's better than if I had just said, I'm going to stencil that whole background. No, see? So if I get to, oh, that's not my coloring, by the way. This is a die cut. Do you think I could color like that? Not in a billion years. But thank you. I'm glad you thought that I might have colored that. No, these are from Gina K, and they're done for you. And it's ephemera, which is fantastic. Anyway, opening all that up on the outside, it makes the difference. It is, and there it is, Robin, it is intentional. It's an intentional white space. It is intentionally left blank. And that's okay. And here's the thing too. It's going to feel weird at first. It's going to feel weird, like when you start trying to incorporate a lot of space. And that's the thing. The samples I'm showing you, they're definitely in my style. Make no mistake. But hopefully you can take this idea of white space and incorporate it into your style. That's the whole goal of it. Design doesn't belong to only my cards or only Jennifer McGuire's cards. You know, it's like it's for everyone to use. Design is a tool, and it is a tool that because I love it and because I've studied it, and let me tell you, I didn't go to college for design, but I loved it and learned about it and made it my life's passion. So if I can share some of these tips, you can take them right into what you create and make the magic. All right, so this send wine card, you know, it's just, yeah, there's lots of white space in there. And even this big purple with the black mat, all of that is just little bits of open space to use. Here's a card I just recently did using some products from My Favorite Thing Stamps. And again, there's a lot here, right? There's a lot happening. I didn't need to stencil. I didn't need to splatter. I just needed to have a white panel and a white note card to let it breathe. Oh yeah, Mindy, I went to school to be a journalism. I'm a journalism major. I got a degree in journalism. Thank you. Boy, I can write a good news article though, let me tell you. I just don't have the opportunity very often. Okay, final card that I'm going to show you, and actually I'll just leave that pretty rainbow goodness up, is I just did this card, and this is so full of content, right? You got balloons and the sequins and the da and the da. But here's the thing. I don't think it's overwhelming because the note card and the title and the die cut are all basically open space. So it's not overwhelming you where it is actually feeling very tied together, but not too busy. So that is my, that is my presentation on open space. Now I want to go back to my face for a second. Hello. Oh my goodness, I get so sweaty. I'm like, it's very hot. Well, it's not, well, that's neither here nor there. Let me do a quick outro for this, and then we'll do a quick Q&A. How does that sound, okay? Thanks so much for watching my design chat for crafty people. You can find information about the cards you saw in today's video linked below, and I'll see you back here with another live stream soon. And we're out. Okay, let's go to party time. It's the after party. Now let me find my, here we go, the new comments overlay screen. There we go. Oh, wait, I don't want to, there we go. I didn't want to have, how does one say, oh, now I don't know how to do this. I didn't want to have this all, oh my gosh. Stay with me, people. And also, thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to figure out how do I move that. Nope. We might have to go to the old school one, which I didn't want to use, but I think, well, do you want to know? I'm a highly trained professional. I just want these to be centered so we have something to look at. And the thumbs down start to roll in. So if you have any questions for me, I really thought I had this super figured out. Hold on here. Nope, that's me. And this one. Well, you know what? I think we're going to go back to the face cam because I don't know what happened. Let's do some questions. Sound good? It's not like I'm really showing you a ton of things, but if you have any questions for me, let me know. Happy to answer. And also, if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button because then YouTube might share it with more people, more crafty people who might be interested in learning about design. So yes, the design rationale. Okay, Lucy, great question. Let me get this all out of the way. Using a black mat and not using one. Oh, the whole Gina thing? Okay, so here's the thing. For example, this little friend here, right? I've got the black mat on. Let's see if I can hold it in a nice steady sense. And the thing is that it's just a personal preference. The thing that is cool about having that black mat, it adds one more layer of framing. And if you think about it in terms of open space, it actually adds another layer of open space to your design. So I think it's brilliant. I love Gina's style because she does that, and it really does. It adds a little space, but it also adds a little more emphasis to your main panel. And it's just a personal preference, and I love it. Now let's see. Oh my goodness. And if I miss a question, please feel free to repost it. Barb, do I ever sketch my cards? I don't. I'm not a sketcher. I don't have drawing skills. Even when I illustrate a stamp set, I license art and I pay for that art to be drawn because I'm not a drawer. I don't sketch occasionally, but like, whereas my friend Christina Warner sketches like beautiful ideas and all these things, I just don't. I just kind of get the product and start working. A Lancashire Lass. I do tend to have open space all around the edge. It's not a rule. It's not a rule. It's a style choice, right? So just because I do that as my main style choice, it doesn't mean that's the best example of white space. It's just what I do. It's not a rule, just a design choice. You can incorporate open space anywhere in your design. You can be completely off the edge of your card, like stenciling to the edge, but still find a way to include some open space. So definitely not a rule, just a suggestion. Thank you, Mira. Robin. Yes, it does. Robin, this is a good question. If you splatter on something, the splatter pattern, which I had, well, I mean, let's just bring the wine card back. Send wine. When you have splatters, it's just more of like a textural side thing, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really take away from the open space. Splatter to your heart's content. Yes. Okay. Kim, I do, okay, when I started making cards, I just started collecting Copic markers, and then someone sent me a box of Copic markers because she didn't want to study. That's why I have all that stuff over there. I do color sometimes. Emphasis on sometimes. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, Angela. Trapped white space. Well, of course I do, which is why I don't do it. Okay, I feel like I need to have my other, let me see if I can do this. Okay, because this is going to be the best way to talk about, oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. I had the wrong, nope, not you. Let's go to table cam. There we go. I want to zoom out a little on this, and I want to talk about trapped white space, okay? This is a great question, great concept. What is trapped white space? Well, you're not going to see it a whole lot on what I create. And here is an example. So see my little friend here with all the sequins, and I kind of fit them all inside. I'll tell you why I did it. Not that I don't love the design, but sometimes trapped white space is when you have an area on your design where the space is boxed in, it has nowhere to go. And if you start looking for it and recognize it, it'll make sense. I don't have examples of trapped white space. It's just space that's boxed in, okay? So when you're designing something, look down at your card and say, well, is there anything that feels like it's trapped, like it can't get out? Trapped white space has no clear path to the edge of your design. That's a great way to think about it. For example, I don't really have anything. I don't have a good example because everything I do, the space has a clear exit, right? Would you consider that to be a little trapped white space? I don't think so because it's part of a scene. But sometimes it can be more obvious than others. And again, I just don't have any samples to show you because I don't trap it. Okay. I love that question, Angela. Thank you so much. Kimberly, I do not. I don't sell my cards. I just, I sell products and ideas. Well, I don't sell the ideas. The ideas are free. Okay. Yes. All right. Oh, Marianne, great question. I was also bad at splattering until I got this friend. Oh, yes. This is the number 4 Zen Royal and Langnickel. I link this in tons of my videos. Simon Says Stamp. I think it's like, I don't know, like $4. You get this wet. You pick up your ink. Fan Brush City. I am telling you, this has changed my splatter life. Get yourself a fan brush. They're fantastic. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, Barb asked me about my waffle flower dies. Let me see if I can grab them. I don't have a link here, but they're pretty much linked in almost every video that I make. because I am obsessed with these dies. Just because that's how I cut out every single one of my panels, and then I know they're going to be even and they're going to fit great on my card. Most used die set I have, there are 2 sets you can get, and I have both, but I mostly use the main one. And just a great investment, great tool, and I love it. I love it. So you can find these linked in almost every video that I have linked below because I use them. I don't like to cut things on without, knowing they're going to be the right size. All right. Cheryl, that's a great question. Is there a ratio of empty white space to content? No, there really isn't. Because like if I went back here, right, and I looked at this little friend and I said, okay, is there a ratio here? Is this 50-50? It might be. But if I went back to this card, same thing. Is this kind of like a 50-50? Maybe, because if you added these together, they might be the same here. There isn't a set ratio. But once you start being intentional about leaving space open, maybe you'll start to get that feel and you'll be like, oh, I kind of did do a 50-50 on this, if that makes sense. I like to say understanding a little bit about design is great, and there are design rules, but you know what? They're also meant to be played with, right? So incorporating a little bit of open space, thinking about the ratio, see what you think when you start to work, but there's no hard and fast rule on that one. Caitlin's question. Yes, when I design for Simon, well, I will say this. When I'm designing products for Simon Says Stamp, I have a general idea in my mind, perhaps. Like we always make, when we're designing, a lot of us at Simon, we create little comps to show possibly how they could be used. So the answer to that is yes. And what I need to do is definitely do more with them. Do more with them. I'm still coming down here to more questions. Let's see here. Coming up. Now this is when I've gone down too far. And yes, also below, there are a link to other design chats covering other topics. And I strongly suggest you check out my playlist because it has lots of videos like this. Some of them are pre-recorded. They're not live. Some of them are live. I can't quite remember, but there's a bunch of them. Okay. Tina, are there some that are harder to have white space? No size is going to be more challenging. Honestly, it's just space. Even on a little mini slimline, you can still find a way to have a little bit of space there. So no size is better than others. Alice, let's see if this shows up. Do I have separate blender brushes for dyes, oxides? Yes, I do. Okay, here's how it works. I have one set over my shoulder for dye inks and one set for oxides. And then I have some Gina K brushes. That's it. So I don't wash them very often, and I only really keep a separate set for oxides because they're creamy and they have that consistency. Do you need to do that? No. I have a roll of paper towels. Got to show you this. I just bought this, and this is the best thing I've ever bought. It's right here. I just wipe off my brushes and go to town. So, okay. Angus the Beagle wants to know, what occasions do I design for the most? Gosh, I feel like it's general, to be honest with you. Because like a card like Hugs, well, general or birthday. I do a lot of birthday cards. That's the one I actually need more than others. So let's, so please check out the link below to the playlist because you'll find lots of stuff. Boop shirts, I'm working on merchandise, trust me. And again, splatter brush, Taz, or fan brush. Get one, Taz. Just go to an art supply store. Ask for a number 4 fan brush. You will not regret that purchase. Yes, okay. Would I ever do... Mira, I don't know. Sending in photos of cards and offering advice to how to improve them. I think it would be helpful. I think it would be a really great opportunity to teach. So I'm going to say possibly. I just hate to point out anything that's not great about someone's card. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this is such a joyful thing, and I want to help you. I want to help people understand design. I'm going to think about that one. Elizabeth, honestly, it's just a gut feeling. Sometimes I feel like if there's a lot going on, well, let me show you here. Like here, I thought, that friend needs a white card base. But when I did, I didn't really put these in any discernible order. When I did, where are you? When I did this one, I felt like that's going to come alive with green. So I actually will make card bases, and I'll just stick them, put the panel on top, and kind of think, what one is really ringing my bell, so to speak. So it really depends. So hopefully that answered. Hopefully that answered your question. Oh, Billy, true story. The first dies I ever bought were all Lawn Fawn stitched. I have them on a special wall. I haven't used them in a while. I was obsessed with my Lawn Fawn stitched dies, and I need to go back to them. I need to get retro. For me, that's retro. But yes, I love stitched dies. I just haven't used them in a while. So thank you, Billy. I might be thinking about that one. Kathleen. So I lost a die in the space here. It's missing. And it makes me sad because it's one of my Kathy Zilski brand, and it's the Hugs die, and I can't find it. I don't know where it is. Boop shirt coming. We're gonna make merch. It's coming. I promise. Let's see here. I'm still looking. How do I pick my sentiment color? Again, a lot of times I keep it really neutral. For example, I go gold metallic a lot because I feel like gold or silver cardstock, which Simon Says Stamp has the most beautiful paper in this matte gold and silver, never go wrong. But, in a case like this where I was like, I'm going to go tone on tone, not everyone might have made that choice. I'm glad that I did because I think that's cool. Again, it's just a little bit of play, and not everything's going to work out great. Like, I think this is actually very cool because I did sort of an ink blend on the background and then just made my background colorful and the greeting in the white, right? So I thought that was kind of fun. It just depends. It just depends. I feel like it's always a gut feeling, but I should think about ways to explain that more while I'm doing my regular videos. Stephanie. I have done square cards. Stephanie, check my channel. I haven't done them in a while because in the US, when you do a square card, unfortunately, you have to put up extra postage on the envelopes because it's a non-machinable size anyway. So that's why I haven't done many square cards. Did a lot more in the beginning. But Stephanie, I'm curious, in the A4 size paper over in Europe, isn't that like 8 and a... Gosh, I remember this because I had to do that size for my classes. But I know you can at least get one panel out, right? I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, that's why I don't do a lot of those sizes. So, have I ever used a stencil like a rectangle to help create white space? Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, I have. I don't have anything here. I feel like some of those cards got sent in. A lot of the cards that I make, I also send them into Simon Says Stamp because we do our lives and it's fun to have them in. But yes, I've absolutely done that. I love the stencil sets, the A2 layer mask stencil sets that have the little cutout areas, because that's a great way to create like a space within which to design. Okay, still looking. Oh, it's 8 1/4, 8 and a smidge, 8 and a smidge. Okay. Yep, I knew that. What kind of cardstock do I use for my cards? Mostly, my cardstock is from Simon Says Stamp, Gina K Designs, and Nina. The white cardstock is all Nina Solar White Classic Crest in the 110 pound primarily, although I do use 80 pound as well when I am dry embossing. But Simon cardstock is fantastic. Gina's cardstock is great. And also another company whose cardstock I like and use is Concord and Ninth. It's a lighter weight, and I think sometimes it's really easy to work with and die cut. It's beautiful. Their palette is really nice. And Concord and Ninth is another. Plus I have inks to match all of them. So Pat wants to know, do I ever duplicate and do in a different color combo? Not for a while. I feel like I did a few of those in the beginning, but mostly I am what they call a one and done. I like to do one and get out. Have the joy, get out. Let's see here. Oh my, oh, this is a good question, Tammy. You know, I would say I have a video for that. I did a craft room tour. You can find it here on my channel. It was fine. It was pleasant enough. I completely forgot to talk about my stamp and die storage. You know what I do? I do what Jennifer McGuire does on a smaller scale. So if you want to check out what Jennifer does, go to her channel, look up stamp and die storage. I use the same pockets. I use the same paper inserts. I make labels just like Jennifer. Basically, when I started making cards, Jennifer's my friend, and I just watched her channel and I said, whatever she's doing sounds good to me. Plus I don't have quite as much. Concord and Ninth, the green card. Oh, Elizabeth, that set is actually, this is part of a subscription only program from Scrapbooking Cards Today. It's called Let's Stamp Together. You get a stamp, a die, dies, and a stencil. It is the coolest program. You subscribe. Companies work with Scrapbooking Cards Today, who I also work for as a graphic designer. And you get to make cards, and we put on classes for our subscribers. I taught a class as a guest instructor, and it's Let's Stamp Together, Scrapbooking Cards Today. I will pop a link down below after this live is over. All right. Well, Charlotte, I don't know what the measurements are for a mini slimline. I feel like it's like 3x6 or 3x6 1/4, I think. Bree, I'm just not familiar with Stampin' Up. I really only started making cards in 2017, and prior to that, in my 15 years as a scrapbooker, I was a Basil girl. I was the Basil queen. Basil Basics. Still think it's great cardstock. I just don't use it for card making because I don't want any texture. I like smooth cardstock. So yeah, I just, it's that thing of whatever you know the most. And it was Gina's cardstock that I first started using because Jennifer had said, check it out. There's lots of colors and they match the inks. But Stampin' Up! Does a great job as well. I know their inks are beautiful. I actually have some Stampin' Up! Inks from my scrapbook days. And I think the pads still work too, but I don't know where they are. I don't know. Silver Granny, do I use a basic layout guide like a triangle? No. 9 out of 10 times what I do, I slap something in the middle and then figure out where I want to put things around it. When I get kind of funky and crafty like that, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to shift it off to the side. But I don't have like a guide. But when I am repeating elements, and I do have a video on repetition, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, I am always trying to find some sort of reflected symmetry in where I put things. So that is very intentional. I have a whole video on sequin placement, although that's a little older. That one's a little older, but the content, stellar. Okay, and yes, I do. I work for Simon Says Stamps, so yes, I love their cardstock. It's really good stuff. In fact, I wish I had more of it. Which reminds me, I need to place some orders. Anyway, that's probably it today. I have really enjoyed having you here today. I'm going to see if I can do an edited version of this just because not everybody likes to be like in the, crafty chat. But I enjoy doing this because it's just kind of fun to do. I see Tammy's question. Do famous crafty? Oh my gosh. I watch Jennifer all the time. I watch Gina all the time. And I watch Christina all the time. And here's why. They're amazing. And like, I watched something Jennifer did last week and I sent her a message and I'm like, dude, you are the GOAT. You are the GOAT. Just like, she's so smart. I love that I don't know everything. I love that there's always something to learn. And the thing that I do know, I know design. I love talking about design, but do I know everything about card making? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that is part of the joy for me of creating and just having so much crafty fun with card making, because, you know, I don't know everything about it and there's always something to learn. So hopefully you take a little bit away from this today. I don't know if I have my little, I thought I had an email thing. Oh, now the focus is going away. Yeah, I don't have my email set up, so we're not going to do that right now. But if you find anything useful, you know, be sure to tag me on Instagram with CZ Design Chat, because I can check that hashtag and see what you're creating and see how you've been inspired. Also, again, if you're watching and found value in this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. And I will see you back here. Actually, I have a really fun card project coming, so it's not going to be a live. I might do it as a premiere, but I'm very excited about the next card coming. Again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you back here with more card projects soon. Bye! Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.